Good day, friends. I was starting to get a little bit worried about my old friend Willie Lumpkin. He hadn't been around in a while, but good news, he is safe. He has not been afflicted by the virus. He is still out making deliveries, just not as many as he usually does. But that is probably for the best. He needs to keep safe as well. So while he hasn't dropped off a lot to my place, I think he's dropped off enough to kind of take a look at. Not a whole lot. There were 3 deliveries, and 2 of them only had one thing in it. But we'll see. We'll see what he decided to drop off. The first one is probably only really exciting for me. It is Scarlet Spider issue 2. This is of volume 1 of Scarlet Spider. This is the last issue that I needed to complete volume 1 of Scarlet Spider. Volume 2 is already completed. This issue, I don't know why this issue is so hard to find and hard to get. I was never able to find it in local comic shops. I only ever see a couple of them posted on eBay. None of the online stores that I go to ever had it. And whenever it's up there, it's like $10 or more shipped. And I don't understand why. Like, there's nothing special that happens in it. It's issue 2. So, those early issues of something like that usually isn't like a problem of it being like a small print run or anything like that. Issue 1 seemed to be easier to find. Issue 3 was never a problem. So I don't know what's up with issue 2. But I waited. I kept my eye on it. I kept seeing ones that were like $10 and whatever. And I eventually got to the point of, I'm tired of worrying about it. I've wasted too much time just like waiting for a cheap copy of it to show up. I just want to get it completed and I want to read it. So I bit the bullet and I got it for the cheapest I could find it as a buy it now at the time. So it's done. I don't have to, and I do that sometimes when there's something that I really want to get, and I'm just kind of like every day or a couple times a week, I'm just like, all right, where is it? Is it available? Can I get it? Is it at a decent price? And it takes its toll on me. And once I get it stuck in my head, like I can't forget about it. So every once in a while, I will pay a little bit more than what I should because it is worth the mental health to me. Like, I just don't want it to be in my mind anymore. But it's not like it's expensive or anything. All right, so the next group of stuff, this was all from a single seller. It really started with one issue. They had one thing that I wanted that they had for a pretty good price, and then just started to, oh, you know what? Actually, no. There were 4 deliveries. And this one was a standalone as well. Amazing Spider-Man 66. This is, I don't know, it's an earlier Mysterio appearance. One that I'm surprised how valuable this one is. Again, like nothing, it's not a key issue, nothing happens in it. It's just labeled as an early Mysterio experience. God, I keep saying that. Appearance. It's issue 66. Like, once you start getting up into above 50s into the 60s, as long as it's not a key appearance, it starts flattening out a little bit, usually, on the value of these things. But this one, for some reason, is a little higher than the other ones that are kind of around it. It needs some love. It needs some work. It's pretty grimy. But that's a lot of white. I can do a lot to make this really pop. I probably won't work on it right away. Again, it's not a key issue. It's something that I need for the Spider-Man run. But when I have time to work on things that aren't as important as something like this, I definitely can clean it up and increase the value of it. So I took that into account when I got it. But it is it's another issue of Amazing Spider-Man, so that brings our count down. We were previously at 23. We are now at countdown to ASM 0, 22. 22 more issues of Amazing Spider-Man to go. All right, so now this next batch, this is all from the same seller. And like I said, it started with an issue of Amazing Spider-Man that they had. For what I could tell with the issue, the condition of the issue, it was a really good price. So I saw that. What I was doing is, I wanted to fill in a Spider-Man issue or two, and without having to spend a whole lot of money. So I looked for some of those earlier non-key issues that I need, and this was one of them. So I was looking for this number specifically, this issue specifically, and then I found this seller, and it sent me down the rabbit hole of their store, and I ended up picking up a few things from them. But we'll get to that. What do we end up picking up? Got Thor 137. This is the first appearance of Ulik. And it's not the best condition. It's probably, I don't know, maybe a 5, 6 or so. It seems fine. There's a bit of a date stamp up there, but it's barely there, and it's not that big of an issue. I don't really care about Ulik that much. That it doesn't really bother me too much. It's not distracting, right? Like the dates that are just like right across the main picture of the cover or over words or something is what really bothers me. That this wasn't bad enough. And again, it wasn't an expensive book. It's the first appearance of Ulik. Yeah. This is one I've been looking for a while. Fantastic Four 62, the first appearance of Blastar. We don't see Blastar too much. I don't know if, he's a negative zone character. If we start getting into negative zone stuff, which I think they're talking about. There was at one point the rumor being Annihilus being a big bad in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and that might bring Blastar in there. This is a affordable book, and this isn't in bad shape. My connection to Blastar, actually, though, is I used to play HeroClix. I used to play HeroClix a lot. If you're not familiar, HeroClix is a collector game where you get blind booster packs, and it started with Marvel, but it's expanded to DC and other franchises. But it's a character-based thing. And I started playing HeroClix back when the very first set, when it first started. And I remember between myself and my girlfriend at the time, who got me into it, we had a very limited set of figures. And Blastar was one of them. Blastar was in the first set, and the veteran, because in those days there were 3 different versions: the rookie, experienced, and veteran versions of characters. The veteran version of Blastar was crazy good. So my connection with Blastar is always back to the first set of HeroClix and playing that, and like, oh, you're playing Blastar again, jeez. But it's a great cover, It's good, and who knows? I didn't get to speculate. It's it's a character that has memories for me, and one I was wanting to get anyway. Next, I have Avengers number 6. This is the first appearance at the very least, of the Masters of Evil. It's also kind of the first appearance of Baron Zemo. I think they ended up retconning, so Baron Zemo actually showed up in Avengers number 4, something like that. But this is when he first really kind of appeared. But I think if you go by And Avengers 4, of course, is when Cap came back, so that's kind of overshadowed by the reintroduction of Cap to the Silver Age. But here he's front and center on the cover. So I picked that up. One I've been wanting for not too long. One I just kind of realized that was missing in my collection. I should probably have. So I got that again in the shape that it's in. For as much as I care about the character, it seems it's definitely not a bad looking copy of it. I think all of these could definitely benefit from a press. Some of them are clean, but we'll put them in their appropriate place on the waiting list for that. The next one I have from them was Amazing Spider-Man King Size Special number 3 or Annual number 3, depending. So this, again, it's another Amazing Spider-Man issue, so that brings us down to 21 for remaining Spider-Man issues that we need. This one, I don't know why this has taken me a while to get this one, and it's not a particularly special issue. If I remember correctly, it's all reprints. So there's nothing really special or new going on in it. All the Doc Ock opuses, both in... Yeah, so I think it's the first 2 Doc Ock appearances, which would be Amazing 3 and 11, are reprinted in here. But it's Annual 3. It's early, right? So it does cost a little bit. Again, I found a nice raw one that was not in the best shape, but in such a shape that I could definitely improve it quite a bit. A lot of grime on it, a lot of baked in over here creases and things like that I might be able to get out. But to me, it was worth the risk. And it wasn't really even a risk. Like, I don't need this issue to be in super great shape. It's nothing really special. I just need it for my run. But it's something that it was worth the price that I got it for, and I can easily make it better. Well, maybe not easily. This one's going to take some work to get it better. But again, it will be put on the stack of someday I will get to it when I don't have as many other important things that need to be worked on. And the last one from this seller, and this is the one that got the whole thing started from this seller, is Amazing Spider-Man number 24. So this brings us down to the ASM, countdown to ASM 0 to 20. In not a particularly important issue. It's I remember correctly, it is a Mysterio issue, I believe, if I remember correctly. And again, it needs a press. It has some color breaks on the spine, but other than that, it's a pretty clean issue. And I was really surprised with the price that this was for the condition and how. I mean, it's not a key issue, but it's number 24. That's low. That's really low. When you start thinking about what consists of keys, like they start counting like the third appearance of Lizard and third appearance of Green Goblin end up going for quite a bit. And this is, I don't know, is this like the second appearance of Mysterio? I can't remember what happens exactly in this issue. I wanted to think it was Mysterio. But it was for a really good price. So that and the other stuff I got from the seller was all reasonably priced. There was some other stuff I was interested in, but it was a little bit more than what I wanted to pay for it. But this stuff, and considering what I can do to some of it, I was really happy with that purchase. In this one, the scary thing about this seller is that they didn't give their opinion on what the grade was. It was just, look at the pictures, the price is the price. Not that when a seller goes on there and says, this is a fine plus, you should take that as gospel truth. But when they do that, that gives you some protection, right? So if you buy, which I like to buy from sellers that are auctions that do list that say this is this. Again, you can't trust that's what it is. You have to use your best judgment. But you know, if they say something is a very fine and it comes back and it's like maybe like I don't know, a very good or a very good minus, at least you have like, whoa, they were obviously misrepresenting what the price was, what they had, and you have a bit more of a case to bring up to eBay and say, hey, I need to return this and there was an issue. But if they just say, this is the price, judge for yourself, I'm not giving you any sort of the condition, which is smart on the seller's side, aside from the fact that some people might not be willing to buy that big of a pig in a poke. So from what I could tell, these were all kind of, I priced about what the grade I thought that they were by looking at them. This one ended up being a little, it needs a press more than I thought. I figured it was going to need a press, but the cover has a little more creases and stuff than obviously showed up on the image on the auction. But what are you gonna do? Overall, I'm very happy about every single one of those books. I have no complaints about any of those books. All right, so the last one is a little bit bigger one. I worked out a deal with someone from eBay. I also posted a part of this on my Facebook and Instagram, challenging people to guess what the cover was by just a small portion of the picture. And no one was able to get it. I thought it would be easier than what it was, apparently. But Amazing Spider-Man number 15, the first appearance of Kraven the Hunter and the first mention of Mary Jane. Yep. Well, second appearance of Chameleon and first mention of Mary Jane Watson. The picture that I took was a close-up of right down here, his foot, Spider-Man's foot wrapped up in webbing. I mean, I thought I would have been able to get it, just because I don't know, this cover with the Spider-Man in the webs, or with the not webbing, the netting. I thought it was pretty obvious that it was Spider-Man's foot and that it was wrapped up in something. And what important covers have Spider-Man wrapped up in like something like a rope or a net? This, but oh well. That's something that I thought was kind of fun. I might do that more often. Not necessarily with just books that I recently got, but maybe go back and take some close-ups of those sorts of things and see if people can guess what issue they are. But anyway, yeah, it's a 6.0, which I'm pretty okay with. It's off-white to white pages. Kraven the Hunter. It's so hard to do this one looking at myself on the camera. Kraven the Hunter is one of my favorite Spidey villains. I just think he's a super interesting villain, and his reasoning is, well, first of all, his design is great. I mean, the leopard pants and the lion mane collar and all, it's such a great costume. And I always love it when Kraven shows up. He's just, I find he's such an interesting character. Like, he's not, well, he's evil, but his at least his original sort of drive was not to rob banks, not to get money, not to get rich, not to do evil things, take over the world, or be powerful, or whatever. It's just, he was such a good hunter, he needed a new challenge, and that challenge was Spider-Man. It's such a cool idea. And he's gone kind of back and forth, and with now like his son being the Kraven and the story behind that, like he's just a really interesting character. But yeah, so this takes us down to countdown to ASM 0 to 19. We've broken 20. less than 20 issues left until have the complete run of Amazing Spider-Man. Pretty exciting. Man, I like this book. I really like this book. And the 6.0 is probably more than what I have an idea of what I want some of these books to be in, right? What is a balance of what is acceptable to me and being cost effective, right? So I don't want anything lower than a 4, but some things I'm willing to, like, I think my Amazing Spider-Man 1 is a 4. My 2 I think is a 4. 3 and 4, 5. I wouldn't mind getting those as a 4 as long as they're a nice looking 4. Like that seems fine. You're on that border between low and mid grade. And to me, it's not about the number; it's about the presentation. Like how much do I enjoy looking at it, right? I've seen some really good 4s. Like this just looks really, really good. I can get enjoyment out of spending time with it and looking at it, and that's what's the most important to me. It's I've mentioned it's important to keep your comic collection in tip-top financial shape, but that doesn't mean you need everything in 10s, right? It's keep what you have in top financial shape by doing things like getting pressing and grading where appropriate. But that doesn't mean you have to buy everything in its most expensive. Buy something at a price point and a condition that makes you happy and makes the money that you spend worth it. There's a balance in there, and it's different for everyone. I am perfectly happy with a 6.0 for ASM 15. I would be happy with a 4.0 for Spider-Man 3 whenever I happen to pick that up. Some issues I do want higher because they're important to me. One issue that I need an annual one. An annual one is probably my second favorite comic. Just period. Because of that, I would like to have a nicer version of that. But it all depends. It depends on the character and and obviously it's different for different people and what's actually attainable, right? What my Amazing Fantasy 15. Yes, I would like it in a higher condition than what I have, but for what it is, I'm happy with what I have it at. Like any more than that would just it's not worth it to me. Is it worth the money spent? Yes, but it's not worth me spending that money, at least in my current sort of financial state. Anyway, I got on a rant about that. I probably could expand on that and made a whole other video about it, but whatever. Anyway, that's it for Willie's deliveries. So I am expecting 2 more deliveries. Nothing that's like big like this. As you know from my TGIW episodes, I've been buying up runs of stuff from local comic book shops as much as I can. And I wasn't able to complete full runs of some of that stuff, but I was able to fill in almost all of those runs, the little pieces I was missing here and there from those runs, from a couple of online sellers. So I have a good chunk of just filler stuff probably coming in within the next week. So I'll probably have another episode of this next week, and then it'll probably be a while before another one happens. I haven't been spending as much money as I usually do, just because I don't, who knows what's going to be happening and all that. So that's it for now. I will see you at least next Wednesday, maybe one more time before that. I don't know. We'll see. But yeah, thanks for watching. Like, comment, subscribe, do all that, and appreciate it, and continue to stay safe out there. Later. This video is brought to you by Titan Comic Pressing. Follow us on Facebook and Instagram at Titan Comic Pressing LLC.